Welcome! Today we will crochet a leg warmer. As we can see, it's not a sock, it doesn't cover the foot, it covers only the leg. We used 4 colors in this leg warmer. We used 100 grams of yarn of the red color as it's the main color. And we used almost 50 grams of yarn of each of the other 3 colors. So let's get started. The yarn we'll use is called Dolly's Burkham. And we'll use a 3.5 hook. We'll start with a chain of 14 stitches. We'll start with the ribbed part at bottom of the leg warmer. This part will be rows of single crochets. And we'll join it together so it will be rounded and will fit the leg size. So as we said, we'll begin with the starting chain and it will be 14 chain stitches. Skip the first 2 stitches and do the single crochet in the third one. All of the first row will be single crochets. Now chain 1 to start the second row. As we know, when we look at the stitch from above, we'll see 2 loops. This is the back loop. And this is the front loop. We will do all of the next single crochets in the back loop of each stitch. So it gives us the ribbing we want in this part of the leg warmer. That's why we'll work in the back loops only. As we can see, we're inserting the hook into the back loop only, not the whole stitch. Now we'll start the third row. As we said, we are working the single crochets in the back loop only. The ribbing is starting to form and it will be more obvious with more rows. This is the third row and we'll do another 35 rows, so this part will be 38 rows. The number of rows should fit the leg size we're making this warmer for. So when we join these rows after we finish it, it should be tight enough on the leg. So it wouldn't come out of the leg easily. As we said, we'll do a total of 38 rows for this part and then we'll join it together. Now we've completed the rows of single crochets. As we can see, it's ribbed like this because we worked in the back loops of the stitches. We'll fold it in half and we'll start connecting both ends together. Insert the hook into each 2 opposite stitches and connect them with a single crochet. As we can see, we insert the hook into each 2 opposite stitches and connect them with a single crochet. And continue the same way to the end. We've joined it. I'll flip it like this. We'll do 1 row of single crochets. It will be the beginning of this part in the leg warmer. Make sure to do the correct count of stitches in this row. Try to make it just the right count, because if it was less than it should be, the warmer will be too tight on the leg. And it won't be comfortable at the part below the knee. So now we'll work in this row and we'll pay attention to the count of stitches. Now this row is done. Now we'll start making the pattern that we'll continue doing for the rest of our work. Chain 1 to start the next row. Then we'll do a single crochet in the first stitch, and another one in the second stitch. Then chain 1 and skip 1 stitch. Then do a single crochet in the next stitch and another one in the next stitch. Then chain 1 and skip 1 stitch. Then do 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And continue this row the same way. Skip a stitch but we do 1 chain on it. Then we do 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And then we chain 1 and skip 1 stitch. Then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And we'll continue the same way to the end of the row. Now we've completed this row, so we'll chain 1 for the next row. The first 2 stitches in the row we'll work in our single crochets. So we'll do 1 chain on them. Then we'll do 2 single crochets together in the empty space between the previous single crochets. Chain 1. Then 2 single crochets together in the empty space between the previous single crochets. Then chain 1. Then 2 single crochets. We'll follow the same pattern we did in the first row, but we're not going into the stitch itself. We do the 2 single crochets in the gap, and between each 2 single crochets we do 1 chain. And then 2 single crochets in the empty space. Chain 1, then 2 single crochets, and continue the same way to the end of this row. We've completed this row and now we'll use the second color. I'll use the rose color. Chain 1 to start the new row. The beginning of the last row was a chain stitch, it's an empty space and we'll do 2 single crochets in it. Chain 1, then do 2 single crochets in the next gap. Then chain 1 and then 2 single crochets in the empty space. Continue the same way, doing the same pattern of stitches and same count. We'll do 3 rows of the rose color. Now I'll use the off-white color. We'll use another type of yarn for this color, it's called Scrim BB. This string is thinner than Ollie's Burkham, so we'll double it to match the density of the one we used. Now chain 1 to start the new row. There are 2 single crochets in the last row, so we'll do a chain on them. So we'll do the 2 single crochets in the gap. Then a chain. We'll work the third color the same way we did in the previous rows. And we'll also do 3 rows of the off-white color the same way. We've completed 3 rows of the off-white color. And now I'll use the blue color. Chain 1 and start the new row. Then we'll do 2 single crochets in the gap here. And then a chain stitch. Then 2 single crochets together in the next gap and then a chain stitch. Following the same pattern, we'll do 3 rows of the blue color. After we finish the 3 blue rows, we'll use the red color again and we'll do 3 rows of it the same pattern. And we'll repeat all these colors again, the red color then the rose, the off-white and the blue then the red again. We did each color once and we'll repeat this color pattern twice, and the last color will be the red one. Now we've completed repeating the color pattern 3 times. The last color was the red one and we did 3 rows the same pattern. We'll finish this part the same way we started that part at the beginning. So the last row we'll do will be single crochets row, same as the one after the ribbed part at the beginning. We'll do this row after the 3 rows that we did the same pattern. So this row will be a single crochets row. Now we completed the single crochets row. Now we'll do a chain of 14 stitches. Because we will do the ribbed part just the same as the one we did at the beginning. So we'll start it the same way we did at the part at the beginning with 14 chains. But they will be connected to the leg warmer body, they won't be separate like the ones we did at the beginning. We'll start doing the 14 chains now. Skip the first 2 stitches and do a single crochet in the third one. All of this row will be single crochets. This is the last stitch. And now we will connect this row of single crochets to the body of the leg warmer. This is the stitch that's opposite to this row, so we'll do a slip stitch at this stitch. This way we're connecting the row to its opposite stitch. And then we'll do a single crochet in the stitch next to the row. Now we'll start a new row. Just as we worked the single crochets in the back loop of each stitch in this part. Also in this part we'll work in the back loops to give us the same ribbing. So now we're doing a single crochet in the next stitch as it will be the opposite stitch for the new row. And continue this row working only in the back loops. We'll start a new round. As we said, we're working the single crochets in the back loops. We'll do 38 rows of single crochets which we do in the back loops. One thing to notice here. When we reach at this point, we may find out that the count of stitches we've done so far in this part might be more than 38. So we'll try to adjust the count of stitches to match the count of rows. So the single crochets rows that form the ribbed part wouldn't be more than 38. So the width at the top matches the width at the bottom. Now we'll connect it with a slip stitch. If we found that there are more stitches than the number of rows and we want to adjust it to match this number, before we start the new row, we can go into 2 stitches instead of 1. Making a decrease, so they become 1 stitch, this way we've reduced the number of stitches of this part. So that we connect 38 rows of single crochets of the ribbed part to 38 stitches in the last row of the leg warmer body. So this part won't be wider than the part at the beginning. And they both would have the same width. And this is how we can match the count of stitches with the count of rows. So we'll continue doing the 38 rows of the ribbed part at the end of the leg warmer. And we'll finish it the same way as we did in the ribbed part at the beginning. We connected the first row with the last row with single crochets from the inside, connecting each 2 opposite stitches with a single crochet. We'll continue this part the same way. Now the leg warmer is completely finished. There is a ribbed part at the beginning and the end, and this is the colors pattern. And we join the last rows at both ends of the ribbed part together with a row of single crochets from the inside. One thing we want to pay attention to when connecting the last part. We start this row from here and connect it to the last row with a slip stitch. And we start the new row with a single crochet. This single crochet is counted in the number of rows. So after we do the single crochet, we go into the next stitch and continue the row. So the count of stitches doesn't get less than it should be. We first should measure the leg warmer to make sure it fits the leg size. So if we want to increase the width, we'll increase the number of single crochets rows of the ribbed part. And if we wanted more width in this part, we'll do that starting from the first row after we finish the ribbed part. We can make increasing stitches in the first row, which will result in more width in this part. And if we wanted to increase the length, we'll make more rows in the middle part. We can also increase the number of chains at the beginning if we want to increase the ribbed part width. So increasing the length of chains at the beginning will increase its length. And we can control the length of the whole leg warmer by increasing or decreasing the number of rows in the colored part in the middle. Now we've completed the leg warmer. Thank you.